Hey there, this is Vicki Arsenault, and you're listening to another episode of Facing Your Fears. Have you ever thought about the meaning of your name? Think about it. Many years ago, when your mom was pregnant with you, she sat there wondering, what am I going to call this tiny human being? And then she came up with some names. She tossed some ideas around, and eventually one of them just felt right. And lo and behold, there you are with your name. Now, this name had some sort of meaning to her. Maybe it was a relative's name that she really admired. Maybe it was an actress on TV or an actor, comedian. Maybe it's just someone that she met once upon a time and they impacted her life and she wanted to name you after that person. There are many reasons why parents choose names. In the Bible, people were often named by what they did or whose child they were, or something along those lines. Or maybe even an angel from God came and said, name your kid this. But I started thinking about it over the past couple of days, and I don't even know why exactly, but I started looking into names of people in my family just to see what the meanings were behind our names and to see if we were identifying as that type of person in our everyday lives without even recognizing it. So, for example, my name is Vicki. Vicki means victory or conqueror. Most of my life, I would not say I was victorious or had a conquering mindset at all. But as I've come to know the Lord more and more and become more like-minded with who He is and more open to letting Him work through me, I have found that I actually have become victorious. The circumstances and things in my past that I feel like Satan used for evil, God ended up working them for good, and because of that I became stronger. So now, and actually for the past probably 15 years, my goal has been to help women feel empowered, that they can be all of the things that God created them to be. I don't want them to be held back by anything, especially fear and doubt and unbelief in the fact that they have a purpose and a God who loves them. So it struck me really funny the other day that my name means victory, and really for the past 15 years or so, that's what I've been trying to help women have, is victory in their lives. I don't know. Sometimes, maybe I've thought this before and I just don't remember. But anyway, this just came to me the other day. So I started looking up other people's names just to see. I looked up my mom's name and my dad's name and their middle names. And I wanted to see if their name meaning actually resembled who they were to me in my life or who they were to other people in life. And I found that they did. And then it was like, their strengths or their name, you could see how that could trickle down into my name, into my sisters and brothers' names. And even for me, when I was pregnant with my daughter, I was very, very drawn to J names for some reason. I loved names that started with J, and so I wanted her name to start with J. So I went through tons of different name ideas and kind of just thought about them, tried them out a little bit, and eventually I just fell in love with the name Jaden. Well, Jaden means God has heard. Now, I don't know what God has heard, because it wasn't like I was in some kind of, situation at that time where I really needed God to hear, and then lo and behold, there was Jaden. It wasn't really like that. So I'm kind of wondering if that's something that's going to be on her own life. I don't really know. And I'm not trying to be all weird and wacky about this, okay? So I'm not getting into all kinds of cryptic things. I'm just curious, and I'm just sharing it with you guys because you might be curious about the same things. But looking through and thinking about how I was so drawn to name her the name that I gave her and her middle name and her last name, when I look at all of those things together, I'm like, this is interesting why I was drawn to all of these different types of names. So I am curious, would you be willing to look up your name and find the meaning of your first name, your middle name, and your last name? And if you're married, go with your maiden name and just check out what those mean. And then really pray about them and be like, hey, Lord, how does this show up in my life? Because it's interesting that God often in the Bible would change somebody's name once they came into a new realization of who he was. So Saul became Paul, Simon became Peter. So many people's names got changed over even in the Old Testament. So I wonder, yes, my name has always been Vicky, for sure. But I feel like in the second half, not even the second half, but almost the second half of my life, I started to come into alignment with victory in my life. So it's just something I was thinking. So like my mom's name means friend or a vision of beauty. And my mom, and it also means companion. My mom is just such a kind-hearted person and has such a heart for people. She loves to cook and bake, and the minute she hears that someone is sick, she wants to go cook for them. It's just one of those amazing things that she has. So to me, that does live out in her life. For my dad, the same thing. His name meaning, the one that he went by, his given name meant sweet oil, but he always went by his middle name, which meant powerful, brave, and strong. And that's how I always saw my dad, even though it wasn't like he was this huge man. He was a pretty average sized man, but yet he was powerful, brave, and strong, not only in life, but in his walk with Jesus, which I think is so cool. So I'm wondering if you would just be willing to do that. Go check it out. See how it aligns with your life. If you don't see that it aligns with your life right yet, maybe you will start noticing that in the future and you'll be able to step into that. But really just prayerfully seek the Lord, because I don't think it's any mistake that you were given the name that you were given. There's meaning behind it, whether your parents intended it or not. Like my parents didn't name me Vicky because they were like, oh, Victory is a nice meaning for a name. My mom had an actress or a singer. I think it was Victoria Principal, maybe. I don't know. Anyway, whoever it was, she just liked them, and so she picked my name for that reason. But I think God drew her to that name for a different reason. So who knows? Anyway, these are my crazy thoughts for this week, and I'm just curious. So head on over to the Faithing Your Fears page and share with me what your discoveries were, or even send me a private message and share with me what your discoveries were about your name. And if you have children, why did you choose the names for them that you chose? Because I bet you had a really good reason for choosing that name. Anyway, that's it for this week. Kind of just a light week. And I'll see you next time. And I hope that you have an amazing time with the Lord over the next 7 days. See you soon.